Brazil's Chupa-Chupa UFO panic, declassified military files. What the Brazilian military buried for decades just surfaced, and it's going to change everything you thought you knew about alien contact. This isn't theory. This isn't speculation. This is documented proof that something hunted humans in the Amazon and the government watched it happen. Picture this. 1977. A remote town called Colares in northern Brazil. Fishermen are being attacked by something in the night sky. But these aren't just sightings. People are being physically injured, burned, paralyzed. 2 women die under mysterious circumstances. The terror is so intense that entire families abandon their homes and sleep in groups, keeping fires burning all night, praying the lights don't come for them. The locals gave it a name, Chupa-Chupa, the sucker, because whatever these objects were, they seemed to be extracting something from their victims. Blood, energy, life force. Witnesses described beams of light that would lock onto people like tractor beams, leaving behind puncture marks, burns, and a terror that never fully disappeared. Now here's where this gets absolutely insane. The Brazilian Air Force didn't dismiss this as mass hysteria. They didn't laugh it off. They sent in Operação Prato, a full military investigation that would last 4 months and generate over 2,000 photographs, 16 hours of film, and hundreds of witness testimonies. This wasn't some weekend investigation. This was the military taking the threat seriously enough to deploy resources, personnel, and technology to document whatever was terrorizing these people. Captain Wirange Holanda led the operation, a respected military officer with no history of believing in this stuff. He went in skeptical. What he came back with would haunt him for the rest of his life. His team photographed objects performing maneuvers that defied every law of physics we understand. Sudden right-angle turns at speeds that would liquefy any human pilot. Objects that would hover silently, emit focused beams of light, and then vanish in the blink of an eye. The photographs are real. The film is real. The medical reports documenting the injuries are real. This isn't blurry footage from someone's backyard. This is military-grade documentation of something that shouldn't exist hunting people in the Amazon rainforest. But here's what makes your blood run cold. The attacks followed a pattern. The objects seemed to target isolated individuals. People working alone at night, fishermen on their boats, women walking home after dark. The beams of light would strike without warning, leaving victims paralyzed, unable to move or scream as something examined them, extracted from them, changed them. Maria do Socorro was one of the first to speak publicly about her encounter. She described waking to a green light flooding her room. Before she could move, the beam hit her chest. She felt a pulling sensation, like something was drawing the life out of her body. When it finally released her, she had burn marks around her breasts and neck. 2 perfect puncture wounds that medical doctors couldn't explain. She wasn't alone. Dozens of others came forward with identical marks, identical stories. The military documented everything. Holanda's team set up observation posts, monitoring the skies night after night. And they saw them, multiple crafts, some disc-shaped, others cylindrical, all exhibiting the same impossible flight characteristics, all emitting the same focused beams of light. The photographs show objects with a metallic appearance, clearly structured, clearly controlled by some form of intelligence. Now pause for a second and think about what this means. If these were experimental aircraft, why target civilians? Why leave physical evidence? Why operate in one of the most remote regions of Brazil where detection would be almost certain if anyone was actually looking? The answer is chilling. Whatever these things were, they didn't care about being seen. They had an agenda, and human awareness wasn't going to stop them. The attacks intensified. More injuries, more terror. The entire region was gripped by panic. People stopped going out at night. Schools closed early. The church became a refuge where families would huddle together, believing somehow that gathering in large groups might protect them. It didn't always work. Then something changed. The military presence seemed to correlate with a decrease in attacks. Whether the objects were avoiding detection or had simply accomplished whatever they came to do, the frequency dropped. By early 1978, the phenomenon had largely ceased. Operation Prato was officially concluded. The files were classified, buried, hidden from public view for over 2 decades. Captain Hollanda retired from the military. He gave one interview in 1997, 20 years after the events. In that interview, he confirmed everything. The objects were real. The attacks were real. He had seen things that science couldn't explain and the military couldn't defend against. 3 months after that interview, Hollanda was found dead, officially ruled a suicide by hanging. But those who knew him said he wasn't depressed. He was scared. Scared of what he'd seen. Scared of what might come back. Here's the question that should terrify you. Do you believe we're alone in this universe? Do you think Earth is the only planet capable of sustaining intelligent life in billions of galaxies? Because what happened in Colares wasn't an isolated incident. It was documented, photographed, investigated by trained military personnel, and then buried because the truth was too dangerous to share. Drop your thoughts in the comments because what I'm about to reveal next connects this case to something far bigger. The declassified files from Operation Prato weren't released willingly. It took years of pressure from researchers, journalists, and the families of victims who demanded answers. When they finally surfaced in 2004, the Brazilian government had redacted portions. Entire sections blacked out, photographs missing, film reels incomplete. What were they hiding? What was in those files that even decades later, they couldn't let the public see? Researchers who examined the available documents noticed something disturbing. The pattern of attacks in Colares matched patterns documented in other remote regions across South America. The Amazon Basin, the Andes Mountains, coastal villages in Peru and Chile. Same description of objects, same focused beams of light, same mysterious injuries. It wasn't isolated. It was systematic, coordinated, like something was conducting a program across an entire continent. And then there are the abduction accounts, because some witnesses didn't just report being struck by beams of light. Some reported missing time, waking up hours later with no memory of what happened but with physical evidence that something did. Scoop marks, unusual scars, implants detected under the skin that medical scanners couldn't identify. One woman reported being taken aboard a craft where she encountered beings that communicated without speaking. Tall, slender, with large dark eyes that seemed to see through her. She described medical procedures, examinations, a cold clinical environment that treated her like a specimen. The Brazilian Air Force documented these testimonies. They didn't dismiss them. They cataloged them alongside the physical evidence because the pattern was undeniable. Something was interacting with humans in ways that suggested intelligence, technology, and an agenda we couldn't comprehend. Now here's where this enters truly dark territory. Some researchers believe Operation Prato wasn't just an investigation. It was a negotiation. That the military presence wasn't there to protect civilians, but to establish communication with whatever was conducting these operations. The sudden decrease in attacks after the military arrived. The classified portions of the report. Hollanda's fear before his death. What if he wasn't scared of the aliens? What if he was scared of what the government had agreed to? Think about the implications. If world governments have been in contact with non-human intelligence for decades, hiding it from the public, what agreements have been made? What have they traded for technology? For knowledge? For survival? The Colares incident might have been a small piece of a much larger operation that spans the globe. That continues today. That you and I are living through without even knowing it. The injuries sustained by Colares victims weren't random. Medical analysis revealed patterns suggesting targeted energy extraction. Some form of technology that could identify and harvest specific biological components. DNA sampling, genetic mapping, building a database of human biology for purposes we can only speculate about. Are we being studied, cataloged, prepared for something? And here's what keeps me awake at night. The phenomenon never truly stopped. It just went underground, became more subtle, more selective. Reports still surface from remote areas. Unexplained injuries, missing time, objects in the sky that move in ways our technology can't replicate. But now there's no military investigation, no official documentation, just silence, as if the world decided it's better not to look too closely at what's really happening. The families who lost loved ones in Colares never got closure. The two women who died were buried without proper investigation. Their medical records vanished. Cause of death listed as cardiac arrest. But witnesses who saw them before death described something else. Burns, trauma, terror etched into their faces. They died knowing something we're not supposed to know, seeing something we're not supposed to see. Captain Holanda's final words in that 1997 interview haunt everyone who studied this case. He said the objects seemed intelligent, aware, that when his team would set up cameras, the objects would sometimes approach slowly, as if examining the equipment. Other times they would avoid observation entirely, suggesting they knew they were being watched and made calculated decisions about when to reveal themselves. That's not random atmospheric phenomena. That's intelligence, purpose, control. The technology involved surpasses anything humanity has publicly acknowledged. Silent propulsion, instant acceleration, focused energy beams capable of targeted biological effects. If this was human technology in 1977, where is it now? Why are we still using rockets and combustion engines? The answer is either we didn't create it, or it's being kept from public knowledge for reasons that benefit those in power and not the rest of us. So what was really happening in Colares? Was it research? Resource extraction? Something darker we can't even imagine? The declassified files raise more questions than they answer because they were designed to. Release just enough information to satisfy curiosity but bury the real truth so deep that only the most dedicated researchers will find it. And even then, the full picture remains hidden. But here's what we do know for certain. Something came to Brazil in 1977. It attacked humans, left physical evidence, was documented by military personnel, and then disappeared into classified files that governments would rather you never saw. That's not conspiracy theory. That's documented fact. The question isn't whether it happened. The question is why. And whether it's happening somewhere else right now while we're distracted by our phones and our daily lives, completely unaware that humanity might not be the dominant species on this planet anymore. Subscribe to this channel because what we're uncovering goes deeper than you imagine. Next, we're investigating the connection between Colares and similar attacks in the Philippines. Same pattern, same injuries, same year, as if something was systematically working its way across the planet. Drop a comment if you think governments are hiding the truth about alien contact. And remember, the truth doesn't stay buried forever. Eventually, someone always digs too deep. Make sure you're ready when they do.